Thank you very much. Well, we do appreciate it. Good evening. Well, we're Yankee Notions. This is Tim Van Egmond, and I'm Jim Douglas. We're being sponsored this evening by the Arts Lottery Council here in town and the Park and Recreation Department. We think this is a good use of the town common and the gazebo, and it's kind of nice to gather together, friends and neighbors and the community, to do the kinds of things that people did here years ago. On nights like tonight here in New England, 100, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, people would gather together on an evening to share some stories, songs, and tunes. And these things still are wonderful to hear and to enjoy and to share. So we're kind of pleased to be here this evening to share with you those old songs, and those old tunes, and those old stories. We also brought some old instruments actually along with us. Not so much the guitar. I mean, we're all used to the guitar with this kind of music, but it wasn't always only maybe 90 years ago that people started using guitars with folk music, and that sounds like a long time ago, but 250 years ago, people were enjoying the sounds of the hammered dulcimer.
I have seniority.
Yes, in colonial New England, you'd see this instrument around in taverns and homes. It's called a hammered dulcimer. This is the part of the evening Tim likes. Show the people your hammered dulcimer, Timothy. Now, Tim built this himself, obviously a man with too much time on his hands. Has 63 strings at last count. It slices, it dices, it does a lot of marvelous things, but particularly it produces some gorgeous music, which is why it's still around, I suppose. In fact, this instrument goes back about 2,000 years in places like Persia. But it was popular here in New England, in the taverns and then in the lumber camps before pianos kind of came in and became popular. There was a hammered dulcimer you might hear. You'd hear people play it as they sang songs, and you'd hear people play it as they did dance music, and people loved to dance too. They still do, and it goes well with the old tunes. Now here in New England, when we talk about tunes, you might be French-Canadian, because when they came in to work in the mills, they brought with them their wonderful French-Canadian music. And even before that, though, you would have probably been hearing maybe some English, but more than that, Scottish and Irish, particularly Irish music. Do we have any Irish people here? They're willing to admit, oh, that's great. When we came here, there was a car parked there that said, Irish 1. That belonged to you. You know who that was. Well, anyway, so we presume there might be some Irish people here. So we're going to do a couple of Irish jigs. The first one is called the Blarney Pilgrim, and the second one is called the Kesh, or the Kincora jig.
Jim is going to introduce his concertina to start out.
This is my concertina, Bob, and sometimes the sailors
can't
call
take
these,
them anywhere.
Sometimes they call these squeeze boxes or musical worms, and you find these on board the ships. Jim and I were just over in Plymouth this afternoon and morning singing songs, the kind of songs that sailors would have sung. We'll get to those later. And you certainly would have heard these on board ships and again up in the lumber camps. And they go well with the Irish music. You hear them sometimes on the west coast of Ireland still today. So here's a bit of concertina and hammered dulcimer. and I are always looking for songs, the old songs, and we find them in all sorts of places. We find them in the memories of people who recall the songs their parents and grandparents and great-grandparents sang. I do a lot of work researching in historical societies, going through collections, looking in the old diaries and journals, and there you run across a fair number of songs. Not surprisingly, a lot of the songs have to do with farmers and with farming, at least on a certain level, because most people living around here lived on farms, so they sang about that. And I live in Old Sturbridge Village, and there people come from around the world to see what life was like on an early New England farming community. And they come away realizing just how much work it took to be on these old farms. But as songs like this remind us, it wasn't all work and no play. It's called The Jolly Plowboy, and if you listen carefully, I think you'll figure out why he is so jolly. I know it's something like this. Come all you lads and lasses, listen here a while. I will sing you a merry tune, 'twill cause you all to smile. My song is so diverting, besides it is so fine. You may sing it to your sweetheart, I will sing it to mine. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. Oh, it's of a jolly plowboy come plowing in the land. He called unto his horses and bid them for to stand. He sat down upon his plow and he began to sing. The echo of the song made the valley for to ring. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. And it's of a farmer's daughter connecting in the woods. His song was so melodious it charmed her where she stood. All the nuts that she had picked, she tossed them all away. Behind the bush, out of sight, she could no longer stay. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. She stepped up to young Johnny as he sat on his plow. Oh, John, she said, I feel so queer, I scarce can tell you how. He said, my dearest Jewel, come sit ye down by me. I will try to ease you of your pain and misery. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. So John, he left his horses and likewise left his plow. Down into the meadow, his courage for to show. He took her on the middle so small and gently laid her down. Oh, John, said she, I think I see the world turn round and round. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. Now when John had done his plowing and sowing in her land, he got back upon his feet, but scarcely could he stand. She laid her head upon his breast as they stood on the plain. Oh, John, said she, I like to see the world turn round again. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. Now John and the farmer's daughter are married now for life. May she never rue the day that she became his wife. Their treasures are increasing, their pleasures do abound. Every night and morning they watch the world turn round. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. With me whack for all the whack for all the day. This is a song called The Prickly Bush. You know, you listen to the radio and, as has been probably since the dawn of time, when people sing songs, I suspect must be close to 98% of them have to do with love. But usually not happy love. I love her, she doesn't love me. Sounds familiar, huh? Well, that's the problem, it sounds so familiar. People write songs about it an awful lot. I think one of the nicest ones, though, I've ever heard is this one called The Prickly Bush. Down in the meadow, fresh and gay, a-picking flowers the other day. A-picking roses red and blue. 'Tis a little I thought what love can do. When love is planted, then it grows. It blooms and blooms, just like the rose. It bears a sweet and pleasant smell. Nothing on earth can love excel. I reach my hand into a bush, thinking it was, thinking to find the sweetest flower. I pricked my finger to the bone and left the sweetest flower behind. Three ships all on the main, all rigged and loaded to the brim. So deep in love, 'tis true I am. I care not if they sink or swim. I leaned my back against an oak, thinking it was a sturdy tree. But first it bent, and then it broke. So proved my true love to me. Should I be bound and she go free? Should I love a girl who loves not me? Why should I have such a foolish thought to love a girl that would break my heart? Now, I think it's only 2% now of Americans live and work on farms. Used to be, years ago, everybody was living and working on farms. So we don't get too close to that, unless you go to the supermarket, I suppose, and buy the fruits and vegetables of their labor. The closest most of us get to farming these days is maybe having a garden. How many have gardens? Good, that's great. But not everybody raised their hand, I noticed, even for that. We don't want to leave anyone out.
How about houseplants?
How many have houseplants? We're not asking if they're alive or dead. Pot sitting there with our so again, well, we still want to include everybody. Let's see. Weeds. Crabgrass. How many have crabgrass there? Can we have a show of hands? There we go. Well, when people come to Old Sturbridge Village, they have a very romantic idea of what being a farmer was like in the old days. And when they leave, I think that's changed a bit. Even with gardening, I suppose if you've never had a garden, you think that's really nice. You get to literally enjoy the fruits and vegetables of your labor. But it's tough. It's hard having a garden. There was a fellow here in New England a number of years ago who wrote a lovely song called The Garden Song. It was real sweet. And it became very popular. People like John Denver, Pete Seeger,
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog did a lovely version of this. It's sung a lot in the schools. You may have heard it. It's got a chorus that goes, Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All you need is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. How many of you have heard that song before? Would you raise your hand? Good, good, good.
Oh, Terry sings it all the time.
Is that right? Yeah. We're not going to do it though, because it's unrealistic. Is really what it is. It's totally unrealistic. What we enjoy much better, is another version of that. It's, in fact, this is called the anti-garden song, but it tells it really like it is. And
if you know more what you're getting into.
That's right. If you know the old garden song, then you're halfway there, because we're going to use the same melody, but we have some new words that this fellow Eric Kilburn has written. I'm sure
from
Eric,
a long tradition of protest songs.
I'm sure Eric has been a gardener in one life or another. And we'll teach you the new words here. See if this isn't more authentic. Goes like this. Slug by slug, weed by weed, my garden's got me really teed. All the insects love to feed on my tomato plants. Da-da-da-da-da, sunburned face, scratched up knees. My kitchen's choked with zucchinis. I'm shopping at the A&P the next time I get the chance. Doesn't that sound much more authentic? Can you identify with that? I certainly can. Well, we'll teach you the new words. First is slug by slug, weed by weed. My garden's got me really teed, really angry. All the insects love to feed on my tomato plants. Da 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 da. That's important. That's an integral part of the song. And we hope that if you lose your place in the chorus here, you forget the words, after that phrase tomato plants, all together we can join in going da 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 da. So we'll be listening and looking. First part is slug by slug. Slug by slug,
Weed by weed,
weed by weed.
my garden's got me.
My garden's got me really teed.
All the insects.
All the insects love to feed on my tomato plants. Yeah, great, lovely, yeah.
Good.
Sunburned face, scratched up knees. My kitchen's choked with zucchinis. No, I'm shopping at the A&P next time I get the chance. So sunburned face. Sunburned face, scratched up knees.
Kitchen's choked.
My kitchen's choked with zucchini.
I'm shopping at the A&P.
I'm shopping at the A&P the next time I get the chance. From the top. Slug by slug,
Weed by weed,
weed by weed.
my garden's got me.
My garden's got me really teed.
All the insects love to feed.
All the insects love to feed on my tomato plant. Da-da-da-da-da, sunburned face, scratched up knees.
My kitchen's choked.
My kitchen's choked with zucchini.
I'm shopping at the A&P.
I'm shopping at the A&P the next time I get the chance.
Tell them about
All
it,
right.
Jim.
Crabgrass grows,
Sure does.
ragweed thrives. My broccoli has long since died. The only thing that's left alive are some radishes and some beets. My carrot plant is dead and gone. Hear the rabbit sing a happy song. Until you've weeded all day long, you don't know what boredom means. Here we go. Slug by slug,
Weed by weed,
weed by weed.
my garden's got me.
My garden's got me really teed.
All the insects.
Love to feed on my tomato plant. Da 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 da. The sunburned face, scratched up knees.
Kitchen's choked.
My kitchen's choked with zucchinis.
I'm shopping.
I'm shopping at the A&P the next time I get the chance. Professor. Get up early, you work till late. Watch the moles and mice get overweight. They eat their dinner from the plate of the hard work you have done. As you sow, so shall you reap. But I smell like a compost heap. I'm gonna get that lousy creep who says gardening is fun. Last chance, slug by slug, weed by weed. My garden's got me really teed. All the insects love to feed on my tomato plants. Da-da-da-da-da-da, sunburned face, scratched up knees. My kitchen's choked with zucchini. I'm shopping at the A&P the next time I get, the next time I get, the next time I get the chance.
Thank you.
We're going to go back now for a minute to the original Garden, a song called Adam and Eve, which very often was sung in old New England weddings. And actually, I think it wouldn't hurt for it to be sung again at some New England weddings. It went like this. Yep. When Adam was first created, the Lord of the universe round, his happiness was not completed till he a helpmate had found. He'd all things for food that was wanting to make him content with his life. He'd horses and foxes for hunting, which many loved more than a wife. He'd a garden all planted by nature to make him content with his life. But unto our all-wise Creator he said that he needed a wife. So Adam was placed in a slumber and lost a part of his side. But soon he awoke in a wonder and beheld a most beautiful bride. With transports he gazed upon her, his happiness now was complete. He thanked the most bountiful giver who gave unto him a mate. She came not out of his head, sir, to rule and triumph over man, nor came she out of his feet, sir, for man to trample upon. But she came out of his side, sir, man's equal companion to be. When both are united as one, sir, how happily they do agree. A man who lives single's a beggar, though all the world he possess. If a beggar has got a good partner, then all things in life shall be blessed. Let woman be honored by man, sir, for she is a part of himself. And woman by Adam was prized, sir, far more than a globe full of wealth. Thanks very much. Well, gardens were popular. And if you ever travel around, you're out in the woods somewhere in the middle of the wilderness here in this part of the country, and you come upon a lone apple tree, chances are very good that a long time ago there stood a homestead right next to it. Because one of the first things our ancestors did when they settled down someplace was to plant their apple trees. They loved the apples, they loved the cider. And in the fall, they'd gather their apples and then gather their friends and neighbors, and they'd have this kind of like a communal exercise, a type of bee. We had spinning bees and quilting bees, and they had
Spelling bees.
something called apple paring bees. That's where in the fall your friends and neighbors came along with their paring knives. You'd cut off the skin of an apple, chop the apple into 4 pieces, tie pieces of string around each piece of apple, and then hang it from the rafters to dry out. And then around Thanksgiving, it was traditional for women to cook up 75 to 100 of they call them dried apple pies. And by all accounts, they were delicious, just great. They only had one drawback. The drawback was they had a very long shelf life, literally. You put them down in the shelves in the cellar, and they last for months. You'd have them in November. Great. You have them in January. Not bad. April comes along. What's for dessert, dear? Oh, no, please, not another dried apple pie. I can't take it. They got a little tiresome, especially around April. We know they got tiresome because a very famous poet who's given us a lot of old songs and stories and whatnot, a fellow by the name of Anonymous, had this to say about dried apple pies. And I think he or she was thinking of this in April because they said, I loathe,
Detest.
abhor,
Despise.
abominate
Dried apple pies.
of all the mean grub beneath the skies.
The meanest is
Dried apple pies. The farmer takes his gnarliest fruit. 'Tis bitter,
worm.
hard to boot. He leaves a core to make you cough.
Doesn't take half the peeling off.
Then, from a dirty string they're strung,
And from a chamber window hung,
there to serve as a roost for flies.
until they're turned into
Dried apple pie. Step in my corn.
Tell me
But
lies.
feed me not those
Dried apple pies.
Well, that's
What
in
did you have
April.
for dessert before you came here?
Yeah, I hope we didn't have apple pie. But that's in April. Now, earlier in November, it could be a lot of fun because when the work was done, our ancestors knew how to have a good time. Work was done, set aside your knives and your furniture. Somebody brings their fiddle or their flute or their hammered dulcimer, and off you go. You have a country dance, or sometimes they're called contra dances. They still go on in New England all over the place. Great exercise. Anybody been to a contra dance? Country dance? Well, I know Tim has. He plays with a great contra dance group called Swallowtail, but a lot of fun. Great exercise, too. We're going to sing a song about a country dance up at the old Jones place. Now, Jones was a good farmer and a good fiddler, and that is a great combination.
Back to the hospital.
And we're going to also include some nice traditional contra dance tunes here. Kick it off. Here we go. Oh, what fun we had together down at Jones and Parentby. Oh, Sarah Gray, do you remember down to Jones and Parentby when I took you and your cousin along with Tom, Frank, and me? Lido, oh, what fun we had together down at Jones and Parentby. Oh, yes, Josiah, I remember 'twas in winter time, you know, when we'd go along the highway, then on up through the snow. Oh, what fun we had together down at Jones and Parentby. Now when old Jones picked up the fiddle, hallelujah, didn't he play? Oh, Joe Clark and Petronella, we would dance to the break of day. Oh, what fun we had together down at Jones and Parentby. Tim picked up the hammer, hallelujah, didn't he play? Right and left and down the center, we would dance to the break of day. Oh, what fun we had together down at Jones and Parentby. Oh, now Josiah, while we're dancing, suppose and Pa should step in here. He would make us do a cartwheel, march us out upon our ear. Oh, what fun we had together down at Jones and Parentby. Oh, oh, what fun we had together down at Jones and Parentby. Uncle Walter, he loves to dance. And a dance he loves more
You're
than
actually
anything
good
else.
children.
I am
Listen to
going
this
to. I thought I would tonight. It's somewhat of an embarrassing.
Family history.
Yeah. Now, Uncle Walter loves to waltz. That's not the embarrassing part. The problem is that Uncle Walter is not always so particular about his dancing partner. I went upstairs in the middle of the night. I tiptoed in and I turned on the light. To my dismay, there was no one in sight. My Uncle Walter goes dancing at night. He goes wah 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 wah, waltzing with bears. Raggy bears, shaggy bears, baggy bears too. There's nothing on earth Uncle Walter won't do, so he can go waltzing, wah wah wah, waltzing, so he can go waltzing, waltzing with bears. I gave Uncle Walter a new coat to wear. When he came home, it was covered with hair. Lately I've noticed several new tears. I'm sure Uncle Walter goes waltzing with bears. He goes wah 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 wah, waltzing with bears. Raggy bears, shaggy bears, baggy bears too. There's nothing on earth Uncle Walter won't do, so he can go waltzing, wah wah wah, waltzing, so he can go waltzing, waltzing with bears. Now we told Uncle Walter that he should be good, do all the things that we said that he should, but I know that he'd rather be out in the woods. I'm afraid we might lose Uncle Walter for good. He goes wah 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 wah, wah, waltzing with bears. Raggy bears, shaggy bears, baggy bears too. There's nothing on earth Uncle Walter won't do, so he can go waltzing, wah wah wah, waltzing, so he can go waltzing, waltzing with bears. We begged and we pleaded, please won't you stay? We managed to keep him home for a day. Then the bears, they barged in and took him away. It was grisly. Now they're dancing with pandas. They can't understand us. And the bears all demand at least one waltz a day. He goes wah 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 wah, waltzing with bears. Raggy bears, shaggy bears, baggy bears too. There's nothing on earth Uncle Walter won't do, so he can go waltzing, wah wah wah, waltzing, so he can go waltzing, waltzing with bears.
My Aunt Matilda was angry, you see. She said, Walter, that rat won't go dancing with me. So she bought a fur coat and she altered it so she can go waltzing and Walter won't know.
She goes wah 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 wah, wah, waltzing with bears. Raggy bears, shaggy bears, baggy bears too. There's nothing on earth that Matilda won't do, so she can go waltzing, waltzing Matilda. She can go waltzing, waltzing with bears. That's right. He goes wah 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 wah, waltzing with bears. Raggy bears, shaggy bears, baggy bears too. There's nothing on earth that Walter won't do, so she can go waltzing, wah 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 wah, waltzing, so he can go waltzing, waltzing with bears. Well, when we asked, thanks very much. Well, when we asked if anybody was familiar with contra dancing or country dancing, nobody was willing to admit it, except for you, maybe. So it's hard to imagine for some of you perhaps, what the dancing looked like. Well, we have a toy that's been popular in New England for hundreds of years, probably brought here by the early Irish, but it's certainly found a home both south and north. It's called a limberjack, not a lumberjack, but a limberjack. And Tim is going to demonstrate it.
There's something on the board. I was just trying to. Here we are. This is the battery part. You know, batteries are included. Sure is. You do is you sit on it, like so. And if you're performing for a whole bunch of people, you adjust the microphone like so. And all you have to do when you're sitting at one end, well anchored, like so, is touch his feet to the board and pound it. He does the rest. That's all it takes.
That's so simple, only a child could do it. Oh, that looks painful.
A little break dancing too, for a little modern touch.
I call my limberjack Michael Limber Jackson.
So, thank you.
Don't encourage
we're just getting started. That was just the introduction.
Now you need some music.
We're going to do a song. These are great for playing along with both instrumentals like fiddle tunes and hoedowns, or songs. And this song that is a lot of fun to do with an audience because you have a very simple part. I'll sing "Turkey in the Straw," and you say "ha ha ha." Let's try it. Turkey in the straw. Ha ha ha. Wonderful.
Have you heard this before?
Then I'll sing "Turkey in the hay," and you say "hey hey hey." Let's try that. Turkey in the hay.
Hey hey hey.
Great. And the rest of it goes: Bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in a Straw." But just making sure I'm sitting on this the right way. Sometimes I'll try to trick you in the chorus, and instead of doing what's expected, which is singing "Turkey in the hay," I'll say another word, and you have to come up on the spot with a different word that rhymes with the word I used that starts with an H sound. For instance, if I sang "Turkey in the tree," what would you say? That's it. You got it. Okay.
Let's review.
Turkey in the straw.
Ha ha ha.
Turkey in the hay.
Hey hey hey.
Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the hay.
Hey hey hey.
Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Well, I had a little chicken and she wouldn't lay an egg, so I poured hot water up and down its leg. That little chicken squawked and the little chicken begged. Darn little chicken laid a hard-boiled egg. Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the hay.
Hey hey hey.
A bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the tree. Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Well, I had another chicken and she wouldn't lay an egg, so I poured hot chocolate up and down its leg. That little chicken squawked and the little chicken begged. Then the darn little chicken laid a... What kind? No, this one's different.
Nope, hot chocolate. So it would be a
chocolate egg. Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the hay. Hey, hey, hey. Bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the snow. Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Well, I went to the river and I couldn't get across, so I grabbed an alligator because I thought it was a horse. He wouldn't go forward and he wouldn't go back. Just opened up his mouth and went clack, rack, chack. Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the hay.
hey hey hey.
Bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the car. Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Have you ever gone fishing on a bright and sunny day? Seeing all little fishes going every which way with their hands in their pockets and their pockets in their pants, and all little fishes doing a hoochie coochie dance. Turkey in the straw. Ha ha ha. Turkey in the hay. Hey hey hey. Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the sky. Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw."
Old Farmer Brown had an awful scare. Chased 10 miles by a grizzly bear. People thought he was out of his mind, running 10 miles with a bear behind.
Turkey in the straw. Ha ha ha. Turkey in the hay.
Hey hey hey.
Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Turkey in the straw. Turkey in the tree. Well, the bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called "Turkey in the Straw." Well, I went to West Bridgewater, went around the block, walked right into a bakery shop. I pulled 3 donuts right out of the grease. Had a shopkeeper 5-cent piece. She looked at the nickel, she looked at me. She said, "This nickel's no good to me. There's a hole in the nickel, there's a hole right through." Says I, "There's a hole in the donuts too." Thanks for the donuts, goodbye. Turkey in the straw, ha ha ha. Turkey in the hay, hey hey hey. Bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called Turkey in the Straw. Turkey in the straw, turkey in the well. Whoops! A bullfrog danced with his mother-in-law, and he whistled out a tune he called Turkey in the Straw. Bum ba da dum, bum bum.
Thanks. Ago they just called it the old songs. If you went up to somebody and said, "You know any folk songs?" They wouldn't know what you're talking about. They were the songs that just people sang, you know, everybody. A lot of times, too, they were simply known as family songs. They were kept alive in families. And I think part of the reason, well, there are a lot of reasons they were remembered. They had nice melodies and they told nice stories. But also, I think in many cases, a song would be remembered because people associated it with good times, good friends, maybe certain family members. Like, here was a song that Uncle Bob sang, or I remember Grandma singing the song when we were ready to go to sleep, this kind of thing. And we were going to all be remembered for different things. I can think of worse things to be remembered for than songs. And I think that might be what this fellow, Jerry Rasmussen, he might have had that in mind when he wrote this song called A Handful of Songs. What did you do? All that I have is my grandfather's hammer, and his old railroad watch in its casing of gold. And the Bible my grandmother bought her last Christmas, she gave to my mother, now she's passed it on. Some may leave money from a lifetime of saving, some just their name on a marble stone. It's not what you leave, it's the joy of remembering. All I can leave you is a handful of songs. Some may leave stories well-tuned in the telling, some just a joke that can still make you laugh. Some may leave lessons hard in the learning, some just a smile in an old photograph. Some may leave money from a lifetime of saving, some just their name on a marble stone. It's not what you leave, it's the joy of remembering. All I can leave you is a handful of songs. How many days slip away without notice? How many friends have been lost on the way? How many good times are taken for granted, only remembered when they've passed away? Some may leave money from a lifetime of saving, some just their name on a marble stone. It's not what you leave, it's the joy of remembering. All I can leave you is a handful of songs. All that I have is my grandfather's hammer and his old railroad watch in its casing of gold. And the Bible my grandmother bought her last Christmas, she gave to my mother, now she's passed it on. Some may leave money from a lifetime of saving, some just their name on a marble stone. It's not what you leave, it's the joy of remembering. All I can leave you is a handful of songs. Yes, some may leave money from a lifetime of saving, some just their name on a marble stone. It's not what you leave, it's the joy of remembering. All I can leave you is a handful of souls. Yes, all I can leave you is a handful of souls. Thanks very much. Thank you very much. We're going to take a break in a minute. We're going to do one more song before we do that. We do have tapes and lumberjacks available, and we're also going to be traveling all over Massachusetts this summer, thanks to arts lottery councils like the one here in town. And if you'd like to know where we're going to be, where we might meet up again too,
or you might want to avoid us, maybe you're not there.
So, yes, right. We're likely to be close by again in short order. We do have more to do tonight. We're just going to take a short break and come back and do a lot more. And before we do that, though, we're going to finish off with this last song for this part of the evening. Take about maybe just 5-minute break, and then come back and do some more. This is a song put to an old tune, old Scottish tune. Some new words, though, written by Pete Seeger.
A song called "Well May the World Go," and it's got a very easy chorus. Well may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well may the world go when I'm far away. I think it's a good follow-up to the last song, because this last song was about what we leave individually, but I think this song is about what we can dream of leaving collectively to generations to come, the kind of world that we leave.
So we'll do this. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and do some songs of the sea. We haven't gotten to any of those yet, and other kinds of things too. Ready? Aye, sure.
Lovers yearn, peace may the generals learn when I'm far away. Well may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well may the world go when I'm far away. Well may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well may the world go when I'm far away. Clear may the streams flow, clean may the breezes blow. Blue above, green below, and I'm far away. Well may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well may the world go when I'm far away. Well may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well may the world go when I'm far away. Sound, the banjo play, the oboe down, dancers swing round and round when I'm far away. Here we go! Well may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well may the world go when I'm far away. Well may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well may the world go when I'm far away. And again! Well may the world go, the world go, the world go. Well may the world go when I'm far away. Well may the world go, the world go. Well may the world go. Thanks very much.
if perchance it begins to rain, we're going to just run into the gazebo, and you're all welcome to join us there. I think it may, hopefully it'll hold off for another hour or so.
The biggest and most impressive boat we saw was one that passed in front of us on a trailer.
Oh, the America 3, yeah, right. Right in front of us, right. So we're going to do some songs of the sea here to start off with. Actually, this first one may not sound like it, but it has quite a history. It started off in Scotland. In fact, they talk about Charlie in the song. Originally it was about Bonnie Prince Charlie. It was brought to this country, carried out to the Midwest. In fact, I've seen a version of this printed in one of Laura Ingalls' books when she was living on the prairie. And then it came back to places like New England and was taken to sea, where sailors kind of adapted it to their own purposes. So it's called Weevily Wheat. Take her by the lily white hand, lead her like a pigeon. Make her dance the weevily wheat and scatter her religion. Wheat dear, my love's a posy growing. Wheat dear, I'm going off to sea. Wheat dear, I left her finger sewing. When I come back, what a loaf of bread she'll be. I don't want your weevily wheat, I don't want your barley. Want some flour, half an hour to bake a cake for Charlie. Trading boats going ashore, trading boats a landing. Trading boats going ashore, all loaded down with brandy. Wheat dear, my love's a posy growing. Wheat dear, I'm going off to sea. Wheat dear, I left her fit for sewing. When I come back, what a loaf of bread she'll be. Higher up the cherry grows, riper grows the cherry. Sooner that you court the girl, the sooner you will marry. Take her by the lily white hand, lead her like a pigeon. Make her dance the weevily wheat and scatter her religion. Wheat dear, my love's a posy growing. Wheat dear, I'm going off to sea. Wheat dear, I left her fit for sewing. When I come back, what a loaf of bread she'll be. Take her by the lily white hand and lead her like a pigeon. Make her dance the weevily wheat, scatter her religion. Wheat dear, my love's a posy growing. Wheat dear, I'm going off to sea. Wheat dear, I left her fit for sewing. When I come back, what a loaf of bread she'll be. Tim Van Egmond, magic fingers. Watch carefully, never leave the hands. There's one instrument you cannot play with your hands tied behind your back. No matter how good
Unless you're really good with your teeth.
Speaking of teeth, we were down in Plymouth and they had all these kind of refreshments for sale. And actually, we were kind of pleased to see that they did have some good fish chowder on hand.
Well, we don't know how good it was because we didn't have any.
No. The reason we didn't have any is because we kept thinking of this song. And when you hear the song, I think you'll realize why we kind of passed up on good fish chowder.
But just to inspire you with an appetizing effect, we're using genuine soup spoons for the accompaniment.
A little heavy metal here.
Sorry. Jerry Mulligan came to see me, left his hat in my chowder pot, put it on when he was leaving, said, "My word, it's getting hot." Said, "My word, it's getting hot." Good fish chowder, good clam chowder, makes you want to cry for more. Fills you up from your top to your toenails, makes you hear the oceans roar, makes you hear the oceans roar. Here's how he looked. 5 fat shrimp behind his earlobes, 4 fat squid with 40 toes, 8 fat scallops, 6 large oysters hanging from his hair and nose, hanging from his hair and nose. Good fish chowder, good clam chowder, makes you want to cry for more. Fills you up from your top to your toenails, makes you hear the oceans roar, makes you hear the oceans roar.
Listen real carefully, you might hear it. Roar, 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 roar.
5 small whales will fill my kettle, but 6 large barnacles will not. Where do all the oceans empty? Into my big chowder pot, into my big chowder pot. Good fish chowder, good clam chowder, makes you want to cry for more. Fills you up from your top to your toenails, makes you hear the oceans roar, makes you hear the oceans roar. He turned to me as he was leaving, said goodbye, and he shook my hand just as a wave ran down his shirt sleeve. Left me holding a ton of sand, left me holding a ton of sand. Good fish chowder, good clam chowder, makes you want to cry for more. Fills you up from your top to your toenails, makes you hear the oceans roar, makes you hear the oceans roar. Goodbye, Jerry Mulligan, come again, but leave your hat on if you do. My big pot can hold a lot, but not nearly as much as you. Not nearly as much as you. Good fish chowder, good clam chowder, makes you want to cry for more. Fills you up from your top to your toenails, makes you hear the oceans roar, makes you hear the oceans roar. Good fish chowder, good clam chowder, has anybody seen my shoe? Jim put it in the chowder? I was saving it for the stew. I was saving it for the stew. Good fish chowder, good clam chowder, makes you want to cry for more. Fills you up from your top to your toenails, makes you hear the oceans roar, makes you hear the oceans roar.
Every Monday night for the last 2 summers, well, 2 summers prior to this, Tim and I would go down to Mystic Seaport and sing our songs, and we'd always meet up with these old sailors, tars, as they're called.
Jackie Tars.
Jackie Tars. And they loved to tell us these stories, which Tim and I would listen to avidly, knowing, of course, we could learn a lot about the life of a sailor. And we also realized very quickly on that whenever a sailor of this sort would tell us stories, it was...
Even though they were astounding.
Yeah, it was obviously true. It was just true. If you've ever known sailors, fishermen, politicians, well, you know that when they tell you stories, you should listen, because it's the truth. They're just incapable of just telling anything but the truth. Why, it was just yesterday, as we stood by a breezy bay, watching the ship sail by, a tired tar said with a shake of his head, I wish I could tell a lie. He said, I've seen sights that would jigger your lights, and have jiggered my own forsooth, but I am worth a darn at spinning a yarn that wanders away from the truth. He said, we were off in the brig of a rig-a-jig, a mile and a half to sea, when Captain Snook, with a troubled look, he steps up and he says to me,
Hey, bosun smith, make haste forthwith, and hemstitch the forward sail. Accordion pleat the dory sheet. There's going to blow a gale.
Well, I straightway did as the captain bid, and no sooner the job was through than the north wind bounded over the roof, and suffering light she blew. Why, she blew the tars clean off the spars, and the spars clean off the masts. Anchors and sails and pails and nails went by in the wings of that blast. And before we could look, she blew the cook out of the galley bin. Pots, cans, kettles and pans went rattling after him. Why, she blew the flame from the galley stove and the coal from the galley bin. Then she whizzed a pace past the captain's face and blew the beard from his chin.
Well, whistle me dead.
The captain said, and the words blowed from his mouth.
We're dead, I fear, if the wind don't veer and come a while from the south.
Whistle me dead. No sooner he said those words that blowed from his mouth than the wind veered round, and with a hurricane sound blew straight in from the south. We opened our eyes with some surprise, but nary a word did we say, for in changing her tack, the wind blew back all the things she'd blowed away. Why, she blew the tars back on the spars, and the spars back on the masts. Back came the sails, and the pails, and the nails that stuck into the ship's mast. Before we could look, she blew the cook back in the galley coop. Back came the cans, kettles and pans, without even spilling the soup. She blew the flame back in the stove where it burned in its proper place, and we all of us cheered, hooray, when she blew the beard back on the captain's face. Now, there's more to this tale, said this mariner hale, and it would jigger your lights, forsooth, but I ain't worth a darn at spinning a yarn that wanders away from the truth. The true story. In South Australia I was born. Heave away, haul away, South Australia round Cape Horn. We're bound for South Australia. All the way to the Rolling Cape. Give me heave away, give me haul away, haul away. You'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. Them West Bridgewater girls, it's hard to sing. Don't sing, use combs, heave away, haul away. All they use is old fish bones. We're bound for South Australia. All the way to the Rolling Cape. Give me heave away, give me haul away, haul away. You'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. Them West Bridgewater boys don't use sleds. Heave away, haul away. All they use is old fish heads. We're bound for South Australia. All the way to the Rolling Cape. Give me heave away, haul away, haul away. You'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. Them West Bridgewater cats don't have tails. Heave away, haul away. They're blown away in hurricane gales. Bound for South Australia. All the way to the Rolling Cape. Give me heave away, give me haul away, haul away. You'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. And when Tim and I learned we were going to be invited here to West Bridgewater, we were really excited because we had been here about 5 years ago. We were singing in the elementary school. And there's a reason we remember this very clearly, because we did this song in the school. And we mentioned that a good shanty man, a man who sang these songs on ship, usually was very creative and could make up new verses as he went along. Well, some of the fourth graders took this as a challenge. And by the end of the school day, they came up to us and said, "We made up a new verse." And they sang it for us, and we were quite impressed. So much so that for 5 years now, wherever Tim and I go, we sing this song and always include this verse. Now here we are, back in the place it all started, so it seems most appropriate to do it certainly here. It went like this. Them West Bridgewater teachers don't take baths. Heave away, haul away, smell 'em away for a mile and a half. We're bound for South Australia. All the way to Rolling King, to me heave, to me haul away, all the way. You'll hear me sing. We're bound for South Australia. There were some teachers standing nearby that heard that verse, made up one of their own, but we can't do that in public tonight, I'm sorry to say, just because. Sailors as they worked. Well, here's another work song by virtue of the fact it was written by a man by the name of Work. And I bet a lot of you know it too. It's one of these songs you may have heard once, maybe just once in your life, though maybe more. But just hearing it once is enough to sit it in the subconscious. It's just waiting to come out again. And I know by the time we get to the chorus, you're going to go, oh yeah, and you join right in. If you've never heard it, if you're too young to have ever heard it, we're glad to be the first to introduce you to it. It goes like this. My grandfather's clock was too tall for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. It was taller by half than the old man himself, so it weighed not a penny, weighed more. It was bought on the morn of the day he was born, and was always his treasure and pride. But it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, his life seconds numbering, tick-tock, tick, but it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. In watching its pendulum swing to and fro, many hours had he spent as a boy, and through boyhood and manhood the clock seemed to know, and to share both his grief and his joy. For it chimed 24 when he entered the door, with a charming and beautiful bride. And it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, his life seconds numbering, tick-tock, tick, but it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. Gave an alarm in the dead of the night, an alarm that for years had been dumb. We knew that his spirit was pluming for flight, that his hour of departure had come. Still the clock kept the time with a soft and muffled chime, as we silently stood by his side. And it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. 90 years without slumbering, tick-tock, tick-tock, his life seconds numbering, tick-tock, tick, and it stopped short, never to go again, when the old man died. Yes, it stopped short, never to go again.
Not too many potatoes, man.
A few more Irish tunes, reels this time. Scarcitades is one, probably comes from the famine years of the 1840s. And then something called the Gravel Walk. What?
Well, again, the romantic life, we were talking in the last set about how different the life is of a farmer or even a gardener as opposed to the romantic notion of it. Well, life at sea, back in the days of the sailing ships, was pretty rough and hard. And we're going to sing a song now about Paddy West. Paddy West was actually... Paddy's Reach Out, sorry. I got a signal crossed here. This is a song of immigration, which really does show how hard life at sea was. And for those who are making the crossing as immigrants, you can really judge how this was probably their first time at sea. So not being used to it, it was harder than you can imagine. So do you have some words to say about it?
Yeah, you come in on the second verse.
Thanks.
From Derry Quay we sailed away on the 23rd of May. We were boarded by a pleasant crew, all bound for America. Fresh water there we did take on, 500 gallons or more, in case we run short running down to New York from Paddy's clean shamrock shore. So fare thee well, sweet Liza dear, and likewise to Derry town. And 'twas farewell to my comrades here I left on that sainted ground. If fortune it ever should favor me, or I'd have money in store, I'll go back and I'll wed the wee lassie I left on Paddy's green shamrock shore. Just 3 days out, we were all seasick, not a man on board was free. Confined to our bunks were all of us, and no one to pity for me. No father kind, no mother dear, to ease our hearts when sore, which made me think long on the lassie I'd left on Paddy's green shamrock shore. So fare thee well, sweet Liza dear, and likewise to Derry town. And 'twas farewell to my comrades all I left on that sainted ground. If fortune it ever should favor me, or I'd have money in store, I'll go back and I'll wed the wee lassie I left on Paddy's green shamrock shore. We landed safe on the other side in 33 days. We took each other by the hand and then went our separate ways. We took each other by the hand in case we might never meet more, which made me think long on the lassie I left on Paddy's green shamrock shore. So fare thee well, sweet Liza dear, likewise the dairy town. And twice farewell to my comrades all I left on that sainted ground. If fortunate ever should favor me, or I'd have money in store, I'll go back and I'll wed the wee lassie I left on Paddy's green shamrock shore. So fare thee well, sweet Liza dear, likewise to dairy town. And twice farewell to my comrades all I left on that sainted ground. If fortunate ever should favor me, or I'd have money in store, I'll go back and I'll wed the wee lassie I left on Paddy's green shamrock shore. Well, when the Irish came here, like a lot of immigrant groups, they found themselves using their muscles, really, in the 1800s, helping to literally dig up this country in the canals and cut down the timber in the lumber camps and lay down the railroad tracks. And here's a version of a song you may have heard. I remember singing another way of this same song when I was in elementary school. It went up, fill-a-me-ori-ori-ay, 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 while working on the railway. Which is, I learned later was the sissy way of doing it, because there's a much more interesting way of singing that song. Well, I like this one. I like to teach it to you, and we can all sing it together. It's same words, except for the chorus, and the chorus is simple. Took us about 6 months to learn, but we'll teach it to you right now. And, well, it goes like this. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. Let's try that, shall we? I was wearing corduroy breeches. Okay, we lost it. Well, I thought we might. So, it's I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. Now, hitches when something goes wrong, and it's also what connects railroad cars. I was working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy, digging, pulling, dodging. I was working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. In 1841, I put me corduroy breeches on. I put me corduroy breeches on to work upon the railway. The railway. I'm weary of the railway, for Paddy works on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. 1842, I left the old wood for the new, and I found myself with work to do, working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. 1843, I went to work for the company, Leeds and Shelby Company, working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. In 1844, I landed on Columbia's shore. My belly was empty, my hands were raw from working on the railway. The railway. I'm weary of the railway, for Paddy works on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. 1845, I thought myself more dead than alive. I thought myself more dead than alive from working on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. In 1847, poor Paddy was thinking of going to... Thank you. Poor Paddy was thinking of going to heaven from working on the railway. The railway. I'm weary of the railway. Our Paddy works on the railway. I was wearing corduroy breeches, digging ditches, pulling switches, dodging hitches. I was working on the railway. The legacy of wonderful songs, just classics, and lots of them. This is the one that we're going to sing called the Mary Ellen Carter tonight, and it says quite literally, don't give up the ship. And we're going to thank you very much for coming by this evening and letting us share some songs and stories and tunes with you. We hope to see you again in the course of the summer. We're Yankee Notions, and we're delighted you came out. We're very thankful to the Arts Lottery Council here in town and to the Park and Recreation Department who made the evening possible. So thanks very much. We'll leave you with this last song.
Stay here. This is the last song.
She went down last October in a pouring driving rain. The skipper even drinking, the mate he felt no pain. Took close to 3 Mile Rock, she was dealt a mortal blow. The Mary Ellen Carter said, oh no. There was just us 5 aboard her when she finally went to wash. We worked like hell to save her, all heedless of the cost. And the groan she gave as she went down caused us to proclaim the Mary Ellen Carter would rise again. But the owners, they just wrote her off, not a nickel would they spend. She gave 20 years of service, boys, and met her fatal end. The insurance, they have paid the cost, now let her rest below. They laughed at us and said we had to go. But we talked of her all winter, sometimes around the clock. She's worth $250,000 floating at the docks. And with every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain. Make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. May her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Now we've been with her on a barge led by a friend. 3 dives a day and hard hat suit, twice I've had the bends. Thank God it's only 60 feet and the currents here are slow, or I'd never have the strength to go below. But we patched her ends, stopped her vents, dog hatch and porthole down, put cables to her fore and aft, girded her around. Tomorrow noon we hit the air, then take up the strain. Watch the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again, rise again. May her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. All those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Oh! Leave her there, you see, to crumble into scale. She'd saved our lives so many times, living through the gales, and the laughing drunken rats who left her to a watery grave, they won't be laughing in another day. And you to whom adversity has dealt the final blow, with smiling bastards lying to you everywhere you go, turn to, put out all your strength of heart and arm and brain, like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again, rise again, rise again. Though your heart it be broken, your life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again, rise again, rise again. Though your heart it be broken, your life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it a great deal. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. Thank you very much. Oh, we do appreciate it. Let's do farewell, my friends. Well, we're going to do one more.
This is a shape note hymn. And it's a good song for taking leave of people and hoping you return home in radiant contentment.
Farewell, my friends, I'm bound for Canaan. I'm traveling through the wilderness. Your company has been delightful. You do not leave my mind distressed. I go away behind to leave you, perhaps never to meet again. But if we never have the pleasure, I hope we'll meet on Canaan's land. I go away behind to leave you, perhaps never to meet again. But if we never have the pleasure, I hope we'll meet on Canaan's land. Thanks a lot. Good night. Drive safe.